5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Weekend confirmed.
Ignition. Liftoff.
Hey guys, weekend confirmed question of the week for the Thanksgiving holiday edition. My name is Garnett Lee. Today's question comes from @GamingUnwrapped, who hit us up on Twitter, where you can get your question to us, as well as on Facebook.com. And as Ryan likes me to say, make sure you are subscribed to that YouTube channel right up there for Weekend Confirmed. We got all kinds of stuff coming on the channel. We got projects in the works. So here is Gaming Unwrapped's questions. He says, or she says, why do game developers use lame excuses when their games do not work correctly? I liked this question because I think it's a really interesting point to how quickly we are to judge game developers on their product. We always have to have reviews up right when the game launches. And a lot of times, you know, if you got a 60-hour game, how do you even get all that together? And, you know, of course, maybe you played it ahead of time, and you probably have played through the entire campaign. MMOs present a bigger problem. But how do we approach these game developers and say, guys, we know you worked on this for 18 months, but your game's crap? I would put it back to you as this. How would you expect them to respond? Most of these folks, and let me just say right up front, I'm not a game developer, obviously. I've been, you know, commenting on the business for a decade, but I've met many developers, so I just sort of have, I guess, a sense of respect for what they do. Look, Jeff and I were just talking about this a minute ago, and I said, you know, I'm going to answer this question, and it concerns me because it's a sensitive subject, but I really feel like there are no developers out there who are working on games that aren't really committed to it. He said, well, what about Barbie Horse Adventure? I said, okay, I mean, I think we're talking about different games here. Games like Barbie's Horse Adventure, these licensed games, yeah, there are guys working at studios and they're artists and they're wanting to get, you know, they need to get a resume builder, or maybe it is something they believe in, but those games are games that are produced for a different audience, I think, than the audience that Gaming Unwrapped is speaking about. I mean, what he's talking about here is, what about a BioShock 2? When a BioShock 2 isn't exactly what we wanted to see, and the folks at 2K Marin have answers for us. I would say, again, like I was saying there a moment ago, what would you expect them to say? These guys really are committed to what they've done, and they're personally invested in it. You have to imagine that they've spent 18 to 36 months working 5-day weeks, then 6-day weeks, and then 7 days a week, not seeing their family, going crazy on crunch time, trying to get this thing out the door, and the whole time they've got someone from the publisher coming in and saying, you know what, guys, we're looking at this type of adventure game, and in order to make it a success, we think you need to have this, this, and this in it. Now, you don't have those points in it. We'd like to see that by the next milestone. So they're getting pulled these different directions, and what may have been a great creative direction at the beginning, suddenly they're getting influenced and second-guessing themselves. And then other people in the team start to second-guess themselves. It's really tough to see a creative project the size of, let's say, an Assassin's Creed. Hundreds of people working on it through to the end. Imagine how many creative people are there in the studio every day, pouring their hearts into this game, trying to make it the best they can, and then it comes out, and some guy, 127, on a forum, takes them to task over a small point. And maybe he just happens to hit the knife in the right spot. Maybe he happens to hit the spot. You know, you were an animator and you're working on this game, and then you were helping on testing, and every time you got to this spot, you're like, man, damn it, this really should be fixed. But it couldn't get tweaked because of all the other events in the game, all the other things that went into the game to get it finished. And now he's going to respond. Is that a lame answer? I don't think it's a lame answer. I think that what you see is a lot of guys putting a lot of passion into games. Take, for example, the biggest example of all, Peter Molyneux. He's always been indicted for coming out ahead of time and saying, I'm going to make a game that does this and this and this, because he believes in that. Because those are the design ideals he would like to achieve. Or look at someone like Todd Howard, who has just put out this amazing game, yet here we are wondering, do we give Bethesda too much slack because of bugs in their game? Well, we could argue both sides. Granted, you plunk down $60 on the game, it should work out of the box for you. On the other hand, if those bugs were such a stopping point that we couldn't make the game, you wouldn't see that expansive game that you have in Skyrim, because it's so massive, there's so much stuff there, that it is honestly probably unrealistic to expect that they could completely test it and completely vet every piece of it. And now that it's out there, they're working very hard to fix it. So, do you not want Molyneux? Do you not want Todd Howard? I'd say I want these guys doing that. I don't think that their excuses are even excuses. I think that we need to maybe temper how we look at games at times. I'm not saying not go easy on them or go easy on them. I'm not saying that like a Duke Nukem Forever needs a pass, because clearly, to me, it's a flawed finality. You know, I don't think that we needed to see that through to its end. It could have been laid to bed, and probably that would have been better for it. But I want to see Skyrim, and I want to see Peter Molyneux going on. And that's why I think they're not lame excuses. They're just guys who put a lot of love into what they do, and they put their hearts into it, and they're out there in front of you. Just like we are, every Friday. Gotta love it. Hope you're catching up with us. Hope you're having a great Thanksgiving holiday. Make sure to watch the parade, spend some time with your family and your favorite game, and we'll talk to you again next week.